Well, I'm very appreciative of everything in my life.
Yes.
And so that joy comes up often.
Yes. Yes.
But I struggle at work. I don't understand how I can have such joyful creations and be so happy and tapped in, tuned in, turned on.
You should work at a grocery store.
I should. And yet I struggle in my job. Being joyful with my job and being tuned in and tapped in when I'm working.
Well, it's nice that you've offered two very clear and quite different perspectives. So which of them felt better to you? Of course, it's obvious. And isolate the difference. In other words, in the grocery store, you are not railing against anything. It's a condition that is easier for you to feel appreciation for, while at work, not so easy. But here's the most important part of this conversation. We are fairly certain that you didn't sit in your car before going into the grocery store and make a list of positive aspects of the grocery store. You were in that connected mode before you went in and felt the appreciation of source flowing through you. So what would it take for you to be in the tuned in mode before you go to work?
I do try to do that. I do list positive aspects.
But let's back up a little bit, because you didn't try to do it before you went to the grocery store. You just weren't doing otherwise. You hadn't been practicing resistant thoughts. In this grocery store, there will be too much to choose from. In this grocery store, there will be things that I would never eat. In this grocery store, there are things that are disgusting that people actually put in their mouths. In other words, you didn't have any of that going on, you see. And so it's not necessary that you make a list of positive aspects in order to be tuned in at the drop of a hat. But it is necessary that you don't have other unwanted things stuck in your vibrational craw. So what we are suggesting is that you and almost everybody else is finding some pretty steady criticism about what is going on at work that is causing a muting of that joy that would be there if you were not doing that. It's the story of the cork will float. That's up there where the pure positive energy is, and the cork will float unless you hold it under the water. And when you hold it under the water, that's what negative emotion is. So what is it about work that you are doing that is chronically causing you to hold your cork under the water?
That's why I feel like I'm missing it. I can't put my finger on it.
There's no one who's annoying?
Well, yes. I work with small children, so it's difficult.
But what else? In other words, it's not the small children that are causing your cork to drown.
I think that's where I need help. I'm having a hard time finding what it is.
Well, it's easier than you are making it out to be, because the indicators are shown to you by emotions when they are happening. So are you saying that you're there and you're not having any emotion? Do you have time shortage?
I mean, it's very busy because I have infants to take care of and kids to put on the bus and older kids that need stuff. So I guess in a way there's time shortage because I'm trying to fit a lot into.
Are there too many of them to mentor in the way that you would like to? Is mentoring not what you are wanting to do anyway?
It is.
What are you facilitating as you're interacting with them? What do you think is your purpose? Why do you think law of attraction brought you there? Why do you think that your inner being said, come this way, you're going to like it? What was it about that your inner being knew would be a good match for you? Hadn't thought of it in that way for a while. But what is there that your inner being knew would be a good match for your happiness?
Children are very loving.
Yes.
And to be in that loving atmosphere.
Yes. And they're not so resistant in nature. They're still free flowing. Most of them are in a faster lane than their parents. What else? Is it the adults at work that are bothering you? Is it the perception that you should control the children that is bothering you? Are you trying to train them away from their guidance system, and you are remembering being trained away from your guidance system, and it's sort of bothering you that you're part of the system that is training them away from their guidance system?
Absolutely.
Yeah, we think that's it.
Yeah.
So do you recognize that they have inner beings?
Yes, I do.
Do you recognize how intuitive they often are?
Mm-hmm.
Do you see their brilliance showing up in different ways?
Absolutely.
Do you have time to applaud that brilliance?
Yeah.
We think that if you would decide that you're just going to get yourself tuned in and get in the receptive mode and then just flow with the brilliance of those infants and older around you, that you'll start feeling better right away. Sounds good, doesn't it?
It absolutely does.
Can you isolate any particular thing that happens on a regular basis, or any one thing that happened that touches that sore spot? Are you asked, in other words, is there someone overseeing you who is asking things of you that you don't want to do relative to them?
No, there is not. I work for myself.
So it's your past beliefs colliding with your now beliefs. Isn't that good to know? That's what we've been talking about all week long, isn't it? So what is it that you believe about children? What is it that you've dragged forward into your now that doesn't fit? That's an interesting concept. That's a nugget too. What is it that you used to think, that you kept thinking, that you continue to think, that you've dragged forward into your now that doesn't fit? Because something doesn't fit with what is now activated within you. Otherwise it would be smooth sailing and blissful all the time. So what doesn't fit? And think about the strongest points of negative emotion, because they are pointing out the parts that don't fit. All the books on teaching and all the books on parenting, and everyone trying to figure out the right way, and all along you've got this guidance system within you that's giving you individual guidance, case by case, student by student, child by child. So is there any one particular that you're clashing with more than others?
I guess because I have children of different ages, the younger ones, I feel like I need to, the word control, make sure they don't hurt each other. You know, if someone's swinging something around, I got to make sure they don't hurt the babies. So I think it's a control issue for me.
Are you feeling responsible to the parents who have put them in your care? Are you trying to adhere to all of their beliefs about what should be going on there? It's an interesting thing. All of these little ones come to you from all these sets of parents who have all kinds of differing beliefs. But what is it predominantly that they are asking you for? Just making sure no one hits it. Esther feared that someone would drop a Tonka truck on Tracy. That was her greatest fear when she left her, because there were little boys running around with their Tonka trucks, and Tracy was a little tiny baby, and she was afraid that someone would just accidentally knock her out.
Yeah. You know, it is that in a way, because you do have, you know, the oldest child that I have is 5 and the youngest are infants. And
but for the most part, doesn't it go well?
For the most part.
And aren't they rather self-sufficient? And haven't they adapted to their environment quite well?
Yes.
And aren't they making the best of the jail you have them in?
Yes.
So
I don't want to have them in jail.
there it is. There it is. You want to provide them more freedom, but feel that you can't, given the guardedness that their parents have brought to you and the responsibility of the guardedness. That's what it is, isn't it? Mm-hmm. And so what you want to do is just muster a little bit more of your realization of well-being, of their resiliency, of their flexibility, of their intuition, of their knowing what to do. You don't very often have to be a peacekeeper, do you? They're pretty much keeping the peace with one another. That's what
it's my issue. It's not their issue.
It's your belief.
Yeah.
It's your belief. It's your belief in being responsible. And of course, we're not encouraging you to let them play in traffic or leave them unattended. That's not the point. But you can let go of that guardedness. It's your trust in their well-being that is suffering. You want to trust in their well-being. You see, this is such a wonderful conversation, because people often want to know, how is it that I, you say to us, came into this physical experience and lost my connection to my own inner being? And we say, because other very well-meaning people made your well-being their responsibility, and then sought to control your behavior in order to satisfy their sense of taking care of your well-being. That's a nugget. The reason that it is not setting right with you is because you didn't like it when it happened to you, and you don't like it when it happens to anyone. So you can receive inspiration from your inner being to foster their own enlightenment and their own intuitiveness and their own well-being. And you know, this is one of our favorite things. We have not said this to you ever. This is a nugget. When you are interacting in your now, and you are realizing that there is some imbalance, which is how you felt when you came up here and sat down and we began talking, just the process of having a conversation about it has brought you understanding. Just understanding why you feel like you feel has let a whole lot of resistance loose. Even though the ideas about what to do about it haven't come yet, that's for more nuggets along the way. The most wonderful thing about releasing some resistance, which just happened, that's what understanding does, and then getting in the receiving mode means that nugget after nugget after nugget after nugget is going to come. And so you're going to find yourself relaxed and at ease as you turn this care over to their inner beings who have been offering it all along. And you get to stand as the witness of their well-being, not the orchestrator of it, not the keeper of it, the witnesser of it, the affirmer of it, the realizer of it, the exaggerator of it, the spreader of it.
That's wonderful.
Yeah. Enough?
That's enough. Thank
Really
you so
good.
much.
Really good. Yeah. Really good.